You've tuned into the Bellingham Podcast for the week of July 28, 2019. This is episode 126. From that city by the Salish Sea, I am AJ Barce.
And once again, straight out of 98226, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, AJ and I are approaching the proverbial TSA checkpoint, emptying our pockets, putting our bags that we carry every day on the conveyor belt, and we're giving you a chance to check out the X-ray of what's in our bag. This is the Whatcom Tech Friends Everyday Carry episode on the Bellingham Podcast.
WTF-EDC, how you doing, Chris?
Whatcom Tech Friends Everyday Carry. Let's make sure we get that because we like not having the explicit tag on our episode.
It's clean.
I'm doing great, AJ. How are you?
I'm doing great now that we're on the mic, man. This is my part of my best part of the week, dude.
I'll consider that high praise. I thoroughly enjoy this. I would much rather be here than in a dentist chair.
Yes.
And that's high praise. Anyway, let's move on. We've talked a lot. We've had some interviews.
Yeah.
Loved the conversations that have occurred in a few recent episodes.
Totally.
Talked about life in Bellingham a little bit. Let's talk about gear.
Yes. Going back to our roots. So if you've been listening to us since the beginning, this is kind of where we started. It was tech and EDC and stuff. And you know, Chris and I, we've been looking at our pockets and our bags going, we've done a lot of changing and purging.
Let's kind of share because we will always go first. That's what we talk about. I have gone down so many rabbit holes.
Oh, I know.
So many trails. I have fought so many windmills in my chaotic quest to be able to have the best everyday carry. So I'm going to go first because I'm feeling like a motor mouth today. I have really wanted to pare down, go figure, what I carry with me on a regular basis, mainly to work. You got a little bit of a walk to the office and around to undisclosed coffee shops. But if you were to stop me on my way to work and go on, Chris, empty your pockets and what's in your bag, I would probably say you got to buy me a drink first. But to share with you, I have an iPhone XR, so I had
the beast is gone.
The beast has not been with me for a while. I had an opportunity to upgrade because I was seeing the writing on the wall with a 3-year-old device in Apple land. And I had a decent trade-in value for it, and I wanted to just kind of move on. Not because I needed the new shiny. It's because the mid-tier shiny was getting a little tarnished as far as its performance for what I was needing. Got the iPhone XR with, of course, a great case on there. And I know you're going to be talking about watches in a little bit.
Sure.
But I still have my SKX007 modded by my podcast partner in crime, and 2, perhaps 3 straps.
Yes.
Maybe 4 for a cousin who likes to come over every now and then.
Yep.
One watch, one and only. That's me, watch fam. I'm the one and only.
I know your unicorn status baffles me.
It baffles many, but I kind of like it because I've gone 15 rounds with the Mike Tyson of mental situations known as decision fatigue.
Yes.
And I've thrown in the towel. I don't want decision fatigue in my life.
Right. But I am just elated because pre this one, you were busting, like you had some Eco Drives, you had some quartz watches.
The big boy watches.
Yeah. And I was just like, dude, like, I love you in your minimalist ways. Buy the best, cry once, and you can't do it any better than an SKX007.
Along those lines, in a horrible analogy, I wanted to date different types of gals.
I gotcha.
To see what I liked and what I didn't like.
Totally.
And when I met my wife, bang zoom, love one woman, many guitars. And in this case, love one watch, many
watch straps.
Sure. Sounds great. I like it. So anyway, got my SKX007 for the watch fam. I also carry with me AirPods because I love the wireless Bluetooth cigarettes sticking out of my ears.
That's the first ones, right?
The first version, yes. It still works for me.
Sure.
I get the charge out of it. It does, and it works fine. Leave me alone. But I have a keychain with only a few keys because I don't want to have the whole jingle jangle keymaster from the Matrix.
Right.
But I've got a Pangea Designs Pickpocket Alpha, which is a little bit of a little device that goes over the top of my jeans pocket or my pants pocket. Got a link for this in the show notes. For the love of Mark Kendall, a great white drink, this has been revolutionary for me because I always used to be jingle jangling with my keychains. Not anymore.
Cool.
it kind of just sits there over the top of my pocket, and it just stays quiet so I can be stealthy as I navigate through Bellingham. And then finally, in my pocket or on my person, I have a Columbia Slim wallet. It's out of production, but it's got that magnetized little billfold thingy and enough spaces for cards. It slips fine. So if you want to pickpocket me, good friggin' luck.
Right.
And so that's on my person. But in my bag, a while back, I talked about a big thump of a purchase I made for a GoRuck GR1. Mm-hmm. I've traveled with it for 3 or 4 day conferences, just threw all clothes in the bag. It's great, very nimble, very bulky. And for the urban minimalist, it's right there for me. Inside it, I have a Cargo Works utility folder.
Yeah, that thing's cool.
I've enjoyed it. It's sold out. And when I had him email me when it became available, and it was like an immediate purchase. What I like about this, they're based in Brooklyn. Sup, Brooklyn? They have enough room for an iPad, not the Pro style. I'll get to that in a second. And a little zipper inside. It kind of folds over, has a nice little folio look to me. And it's bigger than a man purse.
Right.
But it just works for my needs.
And it's a heavy like cotton canvas.
Denier, ballistic.
Nylon canvas thing.
All the Mondo related materials and zippers. So I'm a fan of that. But inside the Cargo Works utility folder made a change. A lot in previous episodes, I talked about having a 12.9 iPad Pro, the Beastie. I have downsized because I wanted to be able to be a little lighter on my feet, less to bulk around with. And I got a iPad Pro 10.5 from a couple years ago. Right. And a smart keyboard, all the trimmings, just so I can have the iOS goodness, but just not in a big bulky package.
64 gig or?
The standard 64, yeah. And then also to balance the analog life, I've got a notebook and a pen. I'm still I still haven't found what I'm looking for, Bono. I haven't found the notebook for me. I love Elemental paper. I love Moleskine. I love Baron Fig. All of these Field Notes. I love all those notebook brands, but I haven't found the one. So love one woman. That's my wife. Many notebooks.
Oh, yes.
In this case. And pens. I get a pen wherever I got one. So anyway, and then a little bit of additional stuff. I got a FourSevens mini LED light, a Gerber MultiTool knife combo that is housed within a Cocoon GridIt. Cocoon GridIt has all these little fat rubber bands wrapped around a little bit of a cardboard layer.
Kind of like a molly board.
Molly board is a great way to describe it. And yes, exactly. So I got a little EDC stuff in this little section. And then I got a Western Digital 256 gigabyte solid state drive, external USB, because I like fast transfer rates and just to store the important stuff as I go back and forth between home and work.
Cool.
Golly, that's what I got on my person. AJ, you're up.
Thanks, dude. But before I get up, I might be down on KMRE 102.3 FM.
Oh, the community-powered FM radio station here in Bellingham, Mondays, sharing our podcast at 6:30 p.m. and Thursdays, I hear, at 6 p.m.
Yeah, that's our new schedule. Thanks, KMRE.
We appreciate it. And also, by the way, if you don't live in here in Bellingham, they're streaming all over the world at kmre.org. Check them out because they play good stuff.
So I did not upgrade my phone. I'm still using the same iPhone SE.
Excellent.
And currently running the iOS 13 beta.
Hang on.
Yes.
You're running a beta on your production phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't advise it.
Right, but we
I go first.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
No, and in general, if you're wondering if you want to try to, because it's an open beta, I mean, you don't have to be a developer anymore. But I wouldn't advise it for most people. I found a lot of my apps don't work right now because they're not the app developers. Again, are third party. They don't, they're getting the betas along with everybody else as developers. Sure. So a few of my apps don't launch, which is fine. Everything else seems to work well. One of the things the reason why I moved to it. Is swipe text keyboard is baked into iOS 13, which is really skookum. Okay. Something, especially because I like the smaller phones, I like to be able to swipe one-handed. So that's the reason why I'm running it. Should somebody want to do that, I highly encourage you to back up your device, your iPhone device, before doing the upgrade to iOS 13, because to get out of iOS 13, you have to reset your phone and you lose all of your data, and you cannot take a iOS 13 back up to an iOS 12.
That's very interesting.
Yes. So just FYI.
Word of the wise, yo.
Right. So anyway, so I'm still rocking the iPhone, but I'm not doing AirPods. That is something that has been a long beef with me because those, what'd you call it?
Cigarettes sticking out of your ears. Yeah.
My ear holes are too big.
Yes.
As my pops might say, you could hear wind whistle between one ear to the other. There's nothing in between.
Be nice, Pops.
So I had to do some digging, and I've had these since Father's Day. It was my Father's Day gift from my wife.
Go wife.
It's a company called Rowkin, ROWKIN, and I have the Ascent Micros. And what these are basically, it's a black, what is the Tic Tac style case that
very similar to AirPods, but it's like it's spray painted black.
Yeah, plastic and aluminum housing. There's LED lights on the bottom to show you how many charges are left in it. USB Type-C for charging.
Very good.
So these earbuds, they're true wireless. They don't have a wire in between, just like AirPods and stuff. But they kind of have this, I don't know, dome-looking thing. They kind of look like the Beats Pro type of thing. They're all black.
I'm looking at them right now as you're brandishing them in front of me. They kind of look like half a bullet.
Yeah, they kind of look like half of a bullet. And then they have the silicone tips that you can change out, which is key for me because I need the bigger gauge for my ear hole. The other nice thing I like about these is that, so they have a left and a right, but unlike the AirPods, like you have to put the left one in the left ear and the right one in the right ear, right? Otherwise they kind of go up.
I've watched people put them in the incorrect way.
Yeah.
It's comical, but anyway.
With these, you can be ambidextrous because they're basically the same design left and right, which is kind of a nice thing.
That helps matters out.
So they have touch on the side, so I can tap to play, pause, accept a phone call and stuff. I basically charge these once, maybe twice a week.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So the battery life is really good. Yeah, so far I've been impressed, and I've been using them pretty much nonstop. They're not as fast as like AirPods. The sync takes a couple of seconds.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, they're also, I think, like half the price of the AirPods.
That was going to be my question. AJ Barsay, how much are these things?
Yeah, I mean, Rowkin usually has like, you can find them on that, global store that has a big A in front of it. Or you can buy them from them, I think, direct. I don't know which way my wife bought these, but they usually have coupon codes and stuff. But if you are like me and you want AirPods, but they don't physically fit, take a look at these Rowkin Ascent Micros. I like them. They have their quirks, but I like them so far.
And it sounds like they're pretty affordable too.
Yeah, totally.
Excellent.
So that's along with my phone. The only other thing technology wise that I'm going to mention is a coffee maker. But before I do that, I got to give a shout out.
It's time for the shout out. It's time for the shout out.
So first of all, I want to give a shout out to Everett and Andrew, who are the guys of 40 and 20.
Hey, Everett and Andrew.
Drink. So they, a couple episodes back, if you haven't listened to 40 and 20, we mentioned them several episodes back. Pacific Northwest base. They're down there in Eugene, Oregon.
All right.
Really cool two guys. Anyway, they also mentioned us on the show quite a few times. And one of the things they mentioned is link in the show notes.
Drink!
So that's for you guys. Check out 40 and 20. That's my podcast recommendation, which dovetails into another Watch Fam thing. So Darren, who is the owner and proprietor of Zulu Alpha straps over in the
Zulu
UK.
Alpha.
Yeah. So sup, Darren. So several months back, he sent me a watch strap of his. And this is the one, if you don't remember, actually, I have a link in the show notes.
For the love of Glenn Tipton and KK Downing, drink!
That is a recent post that I wrote of the 4 watch straps that I use the most from the office to the trailhead. And Zulu Alpha quickly made it on that. And it's largely because I like his story. I mean, the impetus of his watch strap was the fact that he's prior military, and he had some rifle slings that were going to just be thrown in the bin. And so he saw an opportunity to take it and this big Horkin Triglide buckle to make one burly strap for anything.
I am slightly salivating as I'm looking at this right now because my wrist is fairly burly.
It's burly.
And that
burly.
would do nicely on my left wrist, that's for sure.
So anyway, he sent me one and I have taken it. It survived the Wenatchee River. I was diving with it. I've hiked with this. I've been up on waterfalls with it. And this thing is just tough as nails.
Excellent.
And so as he is iterated and stuff, he's refined it. And now he sent me one of his, I'm going to call it his Mark II. I don't know what he actually calls it, but basically this is the Zulu Alpha seatbelt edition, I guess. So it's kind of the same material as like the Toxic Shiznit, but it's a little bit thinner.
Yes.
So it's that slick seatbelt material. It's in a gray. Thanks, Darren. You know my color. It's a little bit longer than his original that he sent me, so it's easier for me to get around the cuff of my wetsuit or my gloves when I'm underwater. His stitching, instead of like this 2-line stitch, I think this is called a box stitch, where it's a square with an X in the center, super reinforced. And the thing that I love the most, the tri-glide buckle is still here, but it's a smaller version. He trimmed it down a little bit, and it's easier for me to wear typing because a lot of our job is at a desk.
Yes.
It's just killer. If you haven't checked out Zulu Alpha, and this is not a paid endorsement, he's on the good list.
We talk about what we like.
Yeah.
We like Toxic NATOs. We like Zula Alpha. We like 40 and 20.
Yep.
Are you getting a trend here, folks? Yeah. Anyway, they're the goods.
Anyway, I just want to, he makes these himself. This is, made by him out of his own home, type of thing. And he's a really cool guy. I've talked to him on Instagram several times, So if you're looking for a really interesting and burly strap, or if you're a person like in my post, if you're not like Chris and I, let's say you're a person who is a working out in the field type of person, military or fire or emergency rescue, I would encourage you to take a look at this strap, because man, literally, like I'm in rapids of a river and I don't want to lose any of my watches, and this doesn't even flinch, man. It's great.
There's a quote that I enjoyed from the past about friends, and this applies to watch straps. A watch strap will bail you out of jail, but these watch straps will be sitting next to you in the jail cell saying, that was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, these are worth going into the situation and back.
Yeah. No, I really like it. And Darren, thanks for the care package. That was great. So yeah, on that strap, I have to eat a little bit of crow, because about a year ago, I said after I got done with the PNW 001, I was not going to be doing another watch. Mm-hmm. And I believe, podcast partner in crime, you're like, don't say that, because I could see a few more.
I can neither confirm nor deny that allegation.
Well, I'm owning it. You were right. I was wrong. So, I've fallen in love with Seiko, and, after working on a Solita and building one from the ground up, Seiko does things a lot of things right, and I had the opportunity, courtesy of Nick from Orion Watches. He hooked me up with a case that I've been looking for, and so I rebuilt the SKX 031, and that was a restore job. Then, as I'm wearing it on said Toxic and Erica's original and Crown and Buckle, and of course Darren's Zulu Alpha, I started thinking to myself, now that I know enough, what if I made this, what if Seiko reissued this watch? Make it a Mark II. So that's what I ended up doing. I've recrystalled the watch using a crystal from Crystal Time Horology. Sup, guys? It's a domed sapphire crystal, so it's hard as nails. Their sapphire is a Swiss source sapphire, so it's quality. Mm-hmm. And then I've got a ceramic, because I loved it when I did it on yours.
Yes. A
ceramic, kind of a teal Salish Sea Blue.
Admiralty Blue, perhaps?
Admiralty Blue.
Let's go for that.
But anyway, so I upgraded it to two very hard materials, and then I have a custom case back that I did for my son's watch on the back. And this thing is quick. It very rarely leaves my wrist. I love it. It's perfect for me, and it's pretty much done.
Excellent.
I will leave the house without my phone, but go to heck if I'm going to leave without a watch on my wrist.
True words never been said.
Yeah. So that's what I've got kind of on me. I've got the Rokins. I've got my iPhone SE. I've got my watch with usually 4 different watch straps. And then we get to coffee.
Because the day begins and sometimes ends with coffee.
Absolutely. I went down the road of trying out every ding-dong tumbler out there. I did Hydro Flask. I did Mirror, and I came around to a company called Clean Canteen
with the K's.
With K's.
Yes.
And I love this thing. It's now discontinued, but this is their 14-ounce Cafe 2 tumbler.
Of course it is.
The reason that I love it is, 1, the size, but 2, the ding-dong lid. The Clean Canteen, you guys are the goods. You actually can unscrew this and clean the whole thing all the way top to bottom.
Very good.
So you don't get that funk.
the F-U-N-K with umlauts on
yes!
the U? Yeah,
you know the coffee funk I'm talking about.
Yes,
and I hate tumblers where you can't clean the lid.
Yep.
So anyway, I love those guys. So I've been running with that pretty much every morning. And I inherited secondhand from some family that was moving out of town a new coffee maker.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Tell
not by hand.
Tell me more.
It's a company called Breville, Breville,
Okay.
or Breville, I don't know. And it's a grind control coffee maker. So this coffee maker is a drip coffee maker on steroids.
Yep.
I looked it up. It's about, $250, $300 coffee maker because it's a grinder coffee maker and will wake up with a smile with you.
I
Maker.
usually control my grind in the mornings as well.
Well, you can on this. Like...
You totally didn't get that.
I'm moving on.
Anyway.
No, like you basically load this thing up with beans. It has a burr grinder built in, and you can tell it to be fine or coarse, and then it measures out exactly how much coffee is needed for how many milliliters you're making. I could do single stuff or a craft. And so basically, like if you're a Keurig person, but you hate like the pre-made. Well, no, like Keurig, you make a lot of waste. Like you got little cups and it's proprietary and stuff. But if you're a coffee snob, this coffee maker is skookum because I load it up with my beans and it's just waiting for me as I wake up in the morning.
Great way to start the day.
Yeah. I still do my hand coffee stuff in the weekends, but to get up and go, I really like it. And if you're a coffee snob, take a look at it. And then that gets me to bags.
So I blitzed through my bag because I usually don't have a whole lot of stuff in my bag. But you've gone through a couple iterations and trying to find that one and only or such.
Yeah, so I still have my leather, Passions leather satchel. But for the motorcycle, I always go back to this REI monorail sling. It's basically a black sling bag, but you can do it left or right. So if you're a lefty or a righty, you can change it accordingly. And it's great. Like I've had that for, I think, 5 or 6 seasons now.
Yeah.
And it's basically always with me when I go on the motorcycle. So yeah, check that out. It's discontinued, but there's some new versions that REI makes. And then for my camera folk out there, I went with a company called Pacsafe. So Pacsafe is well known for international travelers because that's like the pouch that you put around your waist so you don't want pickpockets to get you and stuff. Well, they also make luggage and they also make camera bags. So I got their Camsafe V17 before it was discontinued. There's a new one that just came out at the time of this recording, which is killer. A couple of different tweaks than mine, but basically what's cool about this is it's slash resistant. So if somebody comes and tries to gut your bag so your stuff dumps and they can grab it and run, it's got webbing to prevent that.
Good.
It's got like aircraft cable in the straps so somebody can't come behind you and snip and run.
Okay.
And it's got enough room for me, basically room for my body with a lens mounted up and maybe 2 lenses as long as they're not zooms, and stuff on the top for, because I got my little one with me. So I've got goodies on the top for him and maybe throw in a light vest or something. It's 17 liters. It's not a lot, but it's enough to do a simple day trip. That's my 2 bags that I basically run during the summer.
Excellent. Let's get a container for the right purpose.
Exactly. So anyway, so that's what I've got from my EDC. So a lot of watch fam and a little bit of just containing stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, for version 5.0, I think that's a really good recap of where we're at.
Totes.
Very cool. So it is time once again in a different way for something that caught our eye.
Yeah. That's something we haven't done in a while.
Check back in the archives for that one. Maybe it should stay in the archives. I don't know.
So yeah, why don't you go first on this one? What's something that caught your eye, Chris?
I'm watching some channels on YouTube because that's kind of like one of my most watched TV channels, if you will.
Totally.
And I'm seeing many documentaries about just taking back the amount of consumption that we've done as a society. And one of the channels that I watch a lot on YouTube is Simply by Christine. She's a minimalist and just love how she frames the video and talks about very simple topics. But one of the things she talked about, which it hadn't occurred to me until she mentioned it, bamboo handled toothbrushes.
Tell me more.
Okay, I will. How many times do we go to a grocery store and we get the 2-pack of the Oral-B toothbrushes, or when we come out of the dentist office with a plastic toothbrush? What happens to that plastic after when you've done it for a season and you replace it?
Wah, wah, wah.
Exactly. So I had no idea there were bamboo-handled toothbrushes that it's a 2-pack, and there's a company called Mable, M-A-B-L-E. Got a link to it in the show notes. For the love of Bruce Kulick.
And for 40-20, drink.
What an idea for you and your special someone to be able to brush your teeth in the evening together. Hi, wifey, with a...
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly is a great way of putting it. And I'm thinking, okay, let me try a small step in decreasing my microplastic footprint. and it's about $12 for a two pack
Yeah.
for your tooth pack. And we'll see how that turns out. That's what caught my eye. AJ.
So I just came back from a trek up in the Cascades. I was in our little Bavarian town of Leavenworth.
Ah, yes.
And as we were just tooling about, I saw a young lady wearing what I thought was just slung over her shoulder some rappel rope. And I was like, somebody's just walking through town with rope.
Sounds like Laura Croft.
Actually, that's what went through my mind. Ponytail, whole 9 yards. I was like, cosplay? What? And then when she passed me, I noticed that was actually the sling for her pack. And so I looked at it to kind of double take. I was like, I wonder if it's homemade or, because it's really cool having like basically imagine 3 strands of rappel rope and then a typical, maybe 15 or 13 liter satchel on the back, just like a normal sling bag. And it was very brightly colored. It was not Chris Powell approved black.
That's all right. I need a little color in my life.
So I did a little bit of searching and stuff because I remembered the logo. It had like a K or it was really short. And so I looked, and lo and behold, I found out about a company called, and I might be messing this up, KAVU? KAVU?
Sounds great.
KAVU. And it's funny because they're a Seattle-based company.
How about that?
KAVU is also an aviation acronym for, quote, Clear Above Visibility Unlimited.
Ah, the clear skies.
Yeah, clear
Very
skies,
nice.
right? And so anyway, I was just doing some digging and stuff, and this series of sling is called a rope bag collection. I would say they're mixed gendered, even though a lot of them are very brightly colored. I found one. There is one in black.
There is. Because they know what's good for them about all black.
Yeah, but anyway, if you want something that's a little bit different, Pacific Northwest aesthetic, see our stereotypical PNW episodes. I think this is right up our alley. There's a lot of folk that love the mountains and mountain climbing and stuff, or mountaineering, and that kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a nod to that lifestyle without it being overly aggressive.
Well, I'm glad that caught your eye.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I found.
Very good. Well, that wraps it up for what we're currently carrying.
Yeah.
For a little bit of recap, let's stick a fork in this show.
Yeah. So that wraps it up for this edition of the Bellingham Podcast. Thank you again so much for listening to us, rating us, reviewing us, wherever you like to get our podcast. Remember, if you're in the Bellingham area, you might want to tune into us on Camry 102.3 FM.
They're community powered.
And we are on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. and Thursdays at 6 p.m.
That's right.
And then also we're streaming worldwide, of course.
We're bad. We're worldwide. For them, though, they're kmre.org.
Yes. Oh, man, I've missed this. Have a good weekend, everyone. I'm AJ Barsay.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thank you once again for joining us on the Bellingham Podcast. Great look into actually emptying our pockets and emptying our bags without actually having to go through the body detector
Beep.
machine. Yeah.
Beep.